to Cambridge. First I need another swig of the coffee. Hi, hello and welcome to my kind of, I was going to say new channel, but it's not really new because I had some videos that I uploaded. If you don't know me already, my name's Ryan Whiteman and I'm a 4th year languages graduate from the University of Cambridge, and I did French, Spanish and Catalan. So this video is designed to give you hints and tips on how to get into Cambridge, but also can help you more generally for university applications. So stick with me, and without further ado, let's roll the titles.
Two hours later.
This video is going to be divided into 3 different parts. So what I've done is, if you don't want to hear me babble on for over 10 minutes, then please feel free to skip to the allotted time. I've put them in the timestamp down below. But if you want to watch the whole thing, girl. The first part is going to be about personal statements. The second part is going to be about the process of like research and finding stuff out about the university. And then the final section is on interviews and admissions tests. So these are a big part of the application process as well, and I thought that it would be really important to include some information on that. First section, we're going to talk about the personal statement. Now, the personal statement is a really important piece that you have to do generally for all universities, and you put this through on UCAS. And the reason that interviewers put so much emphasis on doing a personal statement is because it's a chance for you to show the university that you're applying to your best self, and the fact that you are well versed in the subject that you want to study and you've done a lot of research. So it's basically just to show your interest and your passion, as well as also to show them a little bit more about your character, not just that you study these subjects, but also what stuff you do around your subject. So my top tips for a successful personal statement would be, if you want to talk about a book that you've read, this is just, you know, within the context of MML, but also more generally, if you want to talk about a book that you've read, be sure to know it quite well, because there's a high likelihood that they will ask you on it. The second thing would be to ensure that it goes through several layers of checking. So send it to teachers, send it to your A-level teachers, send it to your GCSE teachers, send it to your mum, send it to your auntie, send it to your dog. Doesn't matter. Send it to as many people as you can, and then get their feedback on whether the English makes sense, whether things such as semicolons are in the right place. Basically, you need to send your personal statement to several people so that it becomes one cohesive piece, and it kind of guarantees that a lot of people understand it. For me, for example, I sent mine to literally like 10 teachers, and multiple times as well. So yeah, send it to multiple people, get their opinions on it. They might not be doing the subject that you're applying for, but at the end of the day, their opinion is still valid, you know? They're going to be reading the words that you put in this personal statement, so why not? So a big question surrounding personal statements is whether you should start with a quote. And now personally, I did start with a quote, but I have several friends that didn't, and obviously still got in. So it's all relative and it's all personal. I started with a statement from Federico Fellini, who is an Italian film director, who said that a different language is a different vision of life. And I liked this quote because it was both specific to the subject, but also quite general around like issues of language as well. So that enabled me to talk a bit further about kind of like representation in the media and the use of language, which I do go on to talk about in my personal statement, or language within the book that I read, or language within the film that I saw. So I used that quote as a kind of springboard into the ideas that I talked about further down in my personal statement. I think that is a really good tip to bear in mind, but don't feel pressured into copying one that you read online just because it's from a successful Cambridge applicant. Because at the end of the day, it should be reflective of your own interests and your own abilities, and they're also, you know, looking at the way that you write and the way that you interact with different ideas, be them kind of specific to MML, literary or cultural. So yeah, be sure to kind of be confident and be forthright with your own ideas. Linking onto that, my final tip would be to just show who you are. So the personal statement, yes, is a statement of kind of your academic interests, but also you need to strike a balance between your academic interests and your extracurricular...
Please excuse this visual brain fart.
You need to strike a balance between your academic interests and your extracurricular interests. So I talked about media being my extracurricular interest. I was involved in filming promotional videos for my school, and I also took part in debates. And so then I'd managed to tie these two things into talking about language and the importance of language. So with debating, the importance of how language is used to convey a specific tone or to convey a specific message, and then within videos as well, how language interacts with visual media. So really showing who you are beyond your subjects is really important, and I think that that is definitely the top tip from this section. Next we're going to talk about pre-application things to do, be it research, listening to podcasts, and all that jazz. When I was in sixth form, I went on a school trip to Cambridge and we looked around all of the different colleges that were there, and I walked into St John's and immediately was just like, wow. I looked around the colleges and I thought, they're all beautiful colleges, and they're all absolutely stunning. There's like 31 different colleges in Cambridge, the majority of which you can apply to in your supplementary application questionnaire.
I forgot to actually say what an SAQ was.
So when I was looking around the colleges, really important for me was the way that the community felt. So when I walked up to the Great Gate, the big entrance of my college, there was a really friendly face that said, do you want to come and have a look around? Second, before I went on this trip, checked the student room, which is a really good site for things kind of like pros and cons of college. And I checked the student room before I went, and it said that St John's was one of the only colleges that offer free laundry. Girl had to haul ass halfway across college to get there for 3 years.
Oh, God.
No. Okay.
But it was a very big saving, so I recommend looking on the student room as well before you apply to a Cambridge college. The other thing that you need to do is you need to familiarise yourself with the way that the course works. So you need to look at the different modules that you can do within the course. You need to look at the academic outcomes of the course. So for example, within MML at Cambridge, they do say that you'll have a high command of the languages that you study, and you'll be able to converse on a range of topics including politics, history, economics. So, you know, these things were really important to me because it sounded to me that Cambridge provided a really robust language training programme. It enabled me to look at kind of literature, politics, history, economics in tandem with the languages that I was studying, which was really important to me. Especially in these times now where we can't really leave our house, you know, everything is accessible from the click of a button. And Cambridge have made everything accessible online, so you can even look through the course directory yourself online, and you can even look through, you know, like the different modules that you can do. If you're interested in applying from MML, I'm going to link a website link either here or here. That will take you to the outline of the MML course. And what I really liked about Cambridge was that personally for me, I wanted to specialise in Spanish, so I liked the fact that you could play around with the specialisms. Another thing would be to go to open days. When I went on an open day, it was 2015, but now you can obviously go online, you can go on the MML's YouTube page and have a look at the different videos that they have, or more generally, if you're not applying to MML, you can obviously just type in Cambridge Economics and, you know, have a look at the videos there. Finally, I would recommend doing a mock interview. If your school gives you the opportunity to do a mock interview, I would wholeheartedly say that you should take them up on the offer, because it gives you a flavour of what the interview is like, and also, you know, even though the teacher that's interviewing you might not know necessarily a lot about the subject, for example, I just had my head of sixth form interview me, she didn't know a lot about my subject, but she did take stuff out of my personal statement and ask me about specific words in my personal statement, which really did prepare me for the actual interview experience. Carrying out like mock interviews are really, really good preparatory thing to do. The final part is about like interviews and the application process. The whole notion of going to Cambridge for me was just so completely alien. I didn't even think that I would get in. When I got the interview offer, it started to sink in that it might be a possibility. So I'm going to just talk a little bit more about kind of like the process of, after you get an offer for an interview, the process of carrying out the interviews and the admissions tests. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of my interview and my experience, because it was interesting, you know. It was a cold December night. I was heading to my final interview. I crossed what looked like a pedestrianised walkway and ended up getting hit by a bike. So I would say that it's definitely important to familiarise yourself with the college that you're interviewing at in the daylight, in case you have an interview that takes place after 5 PM. So for me, the process for the interview was split up into the admissions test, which I chose to do in Spanish. I then had a general interview with my tutor. I then had a translation passage to do, so I had a choice of 2 texts and I chose to do a poem. And I translated the poem. I only had about 20 minutes to do it, but we had a dictionary, but we couldn't use anything else. And then I took that translation with me into the final interview, which was a mixture of French and Spanish at the end of the day. Admissions test that I didn't have any prior preparation for it because our school didn't really know the process of kind of MML tests, also known as the MLAT. They are a little bit harder and they are designed to push you beyond the A-level remit, so they will be a bit more challenging. Mine was on the use of mobile phones and like social media, and obviously the passage was in English, but then everyone answered in their own respective language, so I chose to do that in Spanish. So linking back to my point on your personal statement, make sure that you know about absolutely everything. Do all of the reading, make sure that everything makes sense. It's worth noting as well that these interviews will be difficult. They will push you beyond what you thought you could feasibly do. They're designed to be a step further than A-level study. So if you are applying to Cambridge or you are looking for hints and tips, I hope this video really helped you. I will be putting out more videos in the coming weeks, just as a little lockdown video project to do.
What is wrong with me?
I'll be putting out more videos, more tailored content to kind of writing dissertations and my actual general experience of life at Cambridge. I might even do like a review of my matriculation video. So like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you all soon. Bye!